Susannah with the Soul School, and today I'm going to be reading you the channeled message for the collective that I recorded right after I did my my weekly energy and current event readings, which you can I'll link it so that you can find it. And they do refer to one of the cards that we pulled. And so this is for the first part of June into summer. And today they wanted to talk about the younger generation. They want to talk about our youth. I've got all my accoutrements here. I've got my watermelon calcite and my labradorite. After I channel a message, I get cold, and so I just want to get this recorded for you before I have to go get in a hot bath or do something like that. And I'm also doing something different in that I used to do my card reading and my channel in the same video, and I'm breaking them up now so that I have a little more time to pull current event cards when I'm doing the energetic reading, but also to separate out these channels because they have been very, these downloaded channels from my spirit team, the divine team. Sometimes they get pretty high up into the ether realms in terms of being prophetic, and really, really beautiful encouragement to humanity for this time. And this one is no different. It's a call to pay attention to what really matters, I think is what I would say. So when I was doing the reading, they gave me this card. Let me get my autofocus on. There we go. They gave me this beautiful card, and we got it in the around the mental energetic space. And so they, in the card reading, they were really telling us to pay attention to our children, to the youth, to the younger generation. And I had gotten the fact that they're not watching the news. They're not, I think it's a very rare, let's say, 13 to 25-year-old who is actively aware of what's going on in the world right now and the precipice that we sit on in terms of our democracy in the United States, and the scariness of the authoritarian, the very, very wealthy class that pull the puppet strings behind the scenes. So I should have mentioned, since this is a new video, I am pro-democracy, which means I'm not delighted about the current administration's overreach into our checks and balances, our safety guards, the challenges to the court, like many things. So you're welcome here if you believe differently, but just know that that's where my personal human beliefs land. And also I am from the what you would call the Bible Belt, and I was raised with the Christian stories in the Bible and the vernacular, and but please don't let me using those words. I talk about God source. Insert your own definition of God, and I'm delighted, and I want to encourage your personal engagement with whatever you connect to in the astral realms that you define as spiritual, and for your highest good, my team is saying. So anyway, this came up in the card reading, and they wanted to talk about it in the channel. So let me just read that to you. So I started out saying, what God source team, what do you want to talk about to the collective today? Because I really feel like in breaking out these messages, these channeled messages, it creates an opportunity for an audience that's looking for more divine spiritual type information as opposed to tarot or energetic readings about current events. This is kind of information that transcends our current worldview, our current perspective, is what they're saying. So I get messages clairvoyantly, which means I get images. I get it clairsentient, which means I can kind of remote travel and feel empathetically. But when I'm channeling, it's pretty much a claircog, which means I just prime the pump. I say, what do you want to talk about? And I just let the words come through. And I clean it up a little bit afterwards. They don't use periods a lot, and they use a lot of ands, and they sometimes get their pronouns wrong. But for the most part, this is directly what came through for me today on June the 5th. And so I said, God Source, what do you want to talk to the collective about today? And they said, in this moment, we are feeling your inner mind's eye with a video that you saw of your famous basketball player named Shaq. And I think it was Shaq O'Neal. I saw it either last week or this week, and he was doing an interview. And in this video, he spoke about how proud he was of his children. And it really pulled at my heart because we're raising young humans now. And his delight in their individual paths was just really apparent. And I thought, good on you, man. Good for you. And indeed, you saw another video, and this was a separate video, when he spoke about being with his father, who from this interview, he might have been Shaq's father may have been kind of like a military, very rigid man. He spoke about being with his father after he had performed poorly in his game, and the father taking him in a very rough and rugged way underneath an overpass to see a family in desperate despair. The father told the son that this was true pressure, not the pressure he experienced on the basketball court. He challenged him to handle the pressure of his gameplay better by providing this perspective. It's a really lovely interview if you want to Google it. This is them speaking. And we love this moment in time, and we love the lesson from the father to the son, because not only did it create proportionality around wealth and need and real human pressure, but it also enabled him as a man who then became a good man and a better father. You watched this video and thought that the father was very harsh to the young Shaq, but we saved the lesson and allowed the amplification to you and many others, and we say in your speak, good humans raising good humans and good adults is the new flex. Isn't that funny? That cracked me up. We need to put that on a t-shirt. Raising good humans is the new flex. I know. Oh, and I know all of us don't have kids, and many of us are past the times when we had young kids, but I love that change in perspective, just like the Shaq's father provided a perspective for him. Raising good humans and good adults is the new flex. I love it. May it be so. And this is the topic we wish to talk to you about today. We refer to the card from your reading with the children. And that's the one I showed you. Go here. Here it is. Show it to you again. We've referred to the card from your reading with the children to teach your children well. This is a well-known song. It is more true now than it was in the time it was created. Your children are growing in an absence of true information, overstimulated by the things that engage their dopamine and adrenaline on computers. In your era, as AI technology comes on board more, this will only increase. And we wish to challenge and to encourage each parent, each grandparent, each elder, wherever they are in the world and however they interact with the young, the youth, the next generation. Ask them what they believe and why they believe what they believe, as you did with your young men. We in the other video, I talked about going out to dinner with our sons and asking them where they got their information, and they were like, TikTok? It's quite a shock to me, actually. For we tell you, these children, yes, you have said things like indigo children and children that are star seeds implanted here. These children have infinite potential. So I just want to pause and read that again. For we tell you, these children, yes, you have said things like indigo children and children that are star seeds implanted here. So they seem to be acknowledging that this is true, that there are unique souls created and that they're here now. These children have infinite potential. The children on the earth today have infinite potential to bring forward a greater understanding of humanity's mission, a greater understanding of spirituality in connecting with what you call God's source, the divine. But this spark cannot remain dormant. It must be encouraged. It must be breathed to life, just as a fire ember we are showing you. You blow in a fireplace to bring it to life. And we challenge you because the flame from this number, they call them a number, will not resemble what you think it should. You have been used to seeing a red and a yellow flame from an ember. Maybe their ember will be green. Maybe it will be blue. Maybe it will be a color you've never seen before. And we want to ask you to not be afraid. Do not interject your beliefs and your interpretations of the world and the coming days, the coming eons onto them. But they must be turned on, and right now they are not being engaged in the conversations around them. Movement of world leaders, and yes, you call them the kings and the oligarchs, the ones who have the yachts, the ones who hold the power. They are not being engaged around this issue. And then listen to this. We are showing you the young man, Luigi, who took the life of a healthcare administrator to protest his treatment, the wrongness that was done to him. And this is the reason we are bringing you this message today. For there is a caution. If the ember is not blown on carefully, you will only have that which happened with Luigi, and where he is now punished for taking such extreme action. What if he had felt heard? What if he had been nurtured? If he had been brought into the new timeline, the new awareness, the new energetics of compassion and humanity, he would still be able to create change in this world, but now he deals with strife. Isn't that fascinating? I'm going to read that part again. For if the ember is not blown on carefully, and they're talking about the spark in the younger generation, you will only have that which happened to Luigi, where he's now punished for taking extreme action. So they seem to be saying that the potentiality is there, but the nurturing and the engagement and the bringing forth of core humanity in this generation is a mission. It's almost a mission statement that they're calling us to. And so we want to ask you and to bring attention to the younger generation, the ones that are numbed out by games and propaganda and all the things that are in your electronic screens. And we want to ask those of you who consider yourself to be elders, to be the learned ones, to be the wise and sage and knowed ones, to deliberately take these under your wings and to speak to them in respectful ways about what they believe and, most importantly, what they do not know. But do not do it from a place of judgment, for condescension, or patriarchy, or even and especially matriarchy, will not reach their ears. They are their own humans with their own souls, and they need to grow in this moment. They need to grow into the shoes that you will leave behind so that they will be leaders of what you call the new earth. And again, we encourage you that they are wired with a different sensibility than the humans who are, say, over 35 to 45 years old in this moment. So they're dropping a age in there. So they seem to be saying that those who are under 35 or 40 and it feels to me, just leaning into that the older, like if the 35 to 40, the 30 to 40s are the first wave, what I think. And I feel this is related to Dolores Cannon's work, but I think she already felt like the first wave had been. But this feels very much energetically in line with what came through for me. So I'll just leave it there. They are so precious and so important that they must be acknowledged. They're talking about the younger generation. And then I asked Susannah, what else would you have us know? Could you speak to the world events? Can you speak to natural disasters? They said, no, we will not speak on this today. Nope. For we want this message to stand on its own, to call attention. And indeed, we want to amplify this message to you. The message, we want to amplify this message that you must reach out to the youngsters, the ones that you consider unable to tie their shoes or register their cars or do any of the things that you judge them for not being capable of existing well in your adult worlds. But this is not the most important thing. The most important things are the hearts and the souls and the spirits that they carry within them. For their world has been shocked in ways that you have never experienced. They experienced a global pandemic, as you call it, where they were shut down, where everything that they knew to be true was suddenly not true. Their human-to-human, peer-to-peer interactions were not capable in the same way, and this has had a devastating effect on their psyche. And so they must be nurtured, they must be acknowledged, they must be listened to, and most of all, they must be educated. They must be educated not in the ways of your political spectrum, but in the ways of being good humans. What really matters? How can you give food to someone who does not have food? How can you provide shelter to someone who does not have shelter? And we bring you to the refrigerator, which you are going to sell. All right, so I have to put a pause on it for a minute. So I talked about this in my other video. We have our young adult sons moving back with us for the summer, and they've brought a lot of extra furniture and mini fridges and things like that we just don't need. And so I went on to Facebook Marketplace to sell them. And in my card reading, I was talking about how there's an energy of conservation right now, and how normally when you post something on Facebook, you get all kinds of messages. At least they do is this available all, forever? And that just hasn't happened. I had literally one person reach out to me, and they're going to talk about that here in a minute. But as I was just kind of thinking, that's weird. I wonder if my posts aren't being seen or if I did something wrong. But no, they're being seen. People are just holding on to their money, and they're holding on to it because we all feel this sense of uncertainty around what's going to happen in the world. As the foundations of stability have been shaken, is what they just told me. And that makes people want to conserve and to be careful with the resources they do have. And so I talked about that in my card reading, which you should already be able to get. And that's what they're referring to here. And we want to bring you to the refrigerator, which you were going to try to sell. A young woman reached out and asked for your assistance. Could you sell it to them for less? And you pondered the loss of the monetary value. And I mean, we're just normal people. I mean, we could definitely use the cash, granted a smallish amount of cash for a used mini fridge. We could definitely use that. We could use it, but we're not going to starve. We're not going to, it's not going to change our day-to-day life a lot if I don't sell that and get money for it. That's the truth. And this young woman was saying that she is living in a camper with her children and doesn't have a refrigerator. And so she was asking me if I could sell it to her for less. And here they start again. And you pondered the loss of the monetary value, the loss, you called it, in your mind. This is true, all right? What they're saying is true, what they're fixing to say. You went and you looked at their profiles and you made internal judgments about the type of people that they were, and you decided that you were afraid to meet them on your own. And yet you wanted to do this good thing in your heart, but your fear kept you back from doing it. Straight up. That's what happened. That's what happened. One of the profile pictures had one of the people being arrested, like literally arrested and put in handcuffs. They made that their profile picture. That's what happened. The other profile picture, the person's hair was orange and they had purple, and they had like tattoos, and I'm just gonna be honest, that's what happened. I looked at them and I judged that. They're gonna call me out for it, so you don't need to, okay? And in the end, you asked us for our wisdom, and we said, give it. Give it with an open heart. Pull away your judgment. Take good, proper precautions to keep yourself safe, but give the energy of giving and goodness to someone who needs it. Listen to this. Even if they're lying, even if they are quote unquote bad, even if they have been arrested and may have substance abuse problems. Now, it's easy for them to tell me to give it because, of course, they know that the $25 to $50 I would have gotten for that used mini fridge is not going to mean I can't pay my electric bill. I have a good job. My husband has a job. So I'm not telling you to do something like this, and the energy is not them telling you to do something like this if you can't afford to do that. This is more around calling me, making me accountable for the spiritual, mental gymnastics that I was doing that don't align with the message that they're trying to send to us. So, let me start. Take good, proper precautions to keep yourself safe, but give the energy of giving and goodness to someone who needs it, even if they are lying, even if they are quote unquote bad, even if they have been arrested and may have substance abuse problems. For it is in the energy exchange of giving that matters. It is the energy exchange of receiving. So they're talking about this person that contacted me. The energy exchange of receiving and feeling seen by one who is judged by you and others that matters. It is the change of the internal human compass that matters. You must, in this moment, acknowledge the humanity of every human, and you must change the way you try to ostracize to protect yourselves. You must change the labels that you say when you say they are other and not worthy. For it is in this boxing up of another human and putting them into a basement where they cannot be seen that you lose your sense of connection. And if you do this to others, indeed others will do this to you. It is a spiritual energetic loop which is ongoing. It's making me kind of teary. Yeah. And my human brain is crying out, but how do we be safe? How do we protect ourselves? What if, I go to take them this refrigerator and they take my purse and my wallet and hurt me, I mean, let's just talk about it. Let's talk about the impediments to doing what they're challenging us to do, because let's talk about it. Had to clear my energy. And if you do this to others, indeed others will do it to you. They're talking about the judgment, the boxing up. It is a spiritual energetic loop which is ongoing. And so we have lost you now in the words they did. I was just like, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. And we know that. But we wish to say in conclusion that this is a channeled message about humanity and creating the spark of care and compassion and empathy and emotion. All the things which are unique to the human race, which we tell you no other race, no other entity that you will find in what you know of the grand universe can have the same level of connection. And I actually remember choosing to come to Earth, jumping into this Earth plane, and I remember feeling that lack of emotion, a lack of, it's a different fundamental wiring on the other side of the veil. What we get to experience here with our souls and the souls that we choose to reincarnate with to come here is very unique, I think, or what I know of the spiritual realms. And so they want us to lean into that, our common humanity, our common sense of connection. And then listen to this part. This is so beautiful. And again, when I was channeling this, I was gone. I was like, I don't know what I'm saying. And so for me, as a channel, as a psychic intuitive, as a Clair-Intuitive, when I'm bringing words forward that I'm just like, well, I don't know. It can feel really affirming then to go back and read them and feel a certainty that I haven't put my human finger on the scale, because of course we do. We do. We can't help it. And they're showing me a Ouija board, like if you've seen the kids play where somebody's pushing that little thing around. I never want to be pushing that little thing around, but whether it's with the message, whether it's the cards, I really want to be a clear channel for information that will assist and help our collective right now. And that's my prayer I do off camera. And so this next part that came through feels extra magical to me, and I hope it feels magical to you too. So, and now we show you the great Aspen Grove, which here in the United States we have in the Rocky Mountains. And you need to know this about the Aspen Grove. The Aspen Groves, apparently, as I remember, all their roots are interconnected. And so they are one of the biggest organisms on the earth. I think I'm remembering that right. And so we show you the great Aspen Grove. And we show you the great Aspen Grove, which was once the answer to your Trivial Pursuit question. I think I remember this. The largest organism on the earth. And it could have also been the coral reefs. The coral reefs, which are infinitely connected to each other, which are dying. And so we contrast to you the aspen grove and the coral reef, and we ask you to understand the interconnectedness, the energetic connectedness of each human being. Isn't that beautiful? The aspen groves, which at least right now I think are still fairly healthy in their interconnectedness, and the coral reefs, which are interconnected and dying because of the toxins and the pollutions that we have created on the earth. It's just a beautiful contrast and a really beautiful metaphor for humanity and the point that they're trying to make. I love it. I love it. It's beautiful, God. And it is with this young generation that you will start to see a different way, but only if you blow on their ember. Remember, they talked about that before. And only if you encourage them. And to the extent that human wars against human, we are very sad, for it is as if the coral reef turns on itself in what you would call a cancer. It is a cancer when humans war against humans. It is as if the loving cells have turned on each other. And we wish now to call your attention to this moment in your earth time, and to call attention to the energetic change that must happen, indeed is happening, but which needs your direct support. For just as the mighty aspen grove sheds its skin, its beautiful white skin, and it grows its beautiful golden leaves, and then lays dormant through the winter, the spirit of humanity has remained dormant, and it is time now for it to rise up and come forward. Amen, amen, so be it. It just gives me chills, like from the top of my crown. It's a really beautiful message. So I hope this blesses you today. I am going to try to find a way to get these into written form out in the world where you all can read them, because they have become very deep, and it feels like that's something that would help is what they're saying. So I'm all about the help. I'm here for it. So if you've enjoyed this, and if you like my new format, if you would like this and subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments what you think. I'd love that interaction. It encourages and it supports me. So thank you so much. I'll see you next week.